I'm about to share with you my 4-step process on how I landed clients really early on when I was first freelancing, and I occasionally still use this process, but let's not waste any time and get right into it. Step number 1 is do your research. I can't tell you how many times I've seen creators who are first starting out reach out to the wrong brands or brands that are not likely to hire them. You really want to pick and choose who you spend your time in on this process. So I'm literally about to show you real quick one way I go about doing research. I'm going to open up Instagram. I'm going to scroll through. Okay, boom, right here, a brand came up as a sponsored ad. Do a performance. I'm going to do a quick analysis. 33,000 followers. Doesn't have a massive following, so probably needs social content, or they're still on the rise. Boom, right away, there's not that many videos. They're obviously selling a lot of products. They have a bunch of really beautiful photos, but they're probably lacking on the video side of things. So this would be a good brand to try and reach out to. Let's keep going. Okay, Furnish is another one. Perfect, Furnish, only 7,700 followers, around that range. They have no videos, but they have awesome products, and it looks like they're trying to grow their social media. They're trying to build the feed. All the highlights tell you they're trying to take it pretty aggressively, and they have little followers, but they're verified. So they're obviously a company that's trying to grow. So this would be actually a pretty good company that you could reach out to. Low following, no videos, high quality content. This is a good brand to reach out to. Let's keep going. Okay, let's look at it. Cuts Clothing. 150,000 followers. They have some video work here, really high quality content. You guys have probably all heard of Cuts. There are a lot of YouTubers are sponsored by them. This would be a bad company to reach out to if you're first starting out, because they probably already have a bunch of content creators in their back pocket, and chances are they already have an internal team that they're paying to make these videos. So don't waste your time with brands like this if you're first starting out and you're trying to get paid. So some guiding questions to keep in mind for step number 1 when it comes to research. When you visit their page, how many followers do they have? Do they have videos? And how frequently or how aggressively are they pushing social media? You have to really analyze those 3 questions, because if there's a hole in any of those, or it's not really optimized in your favor, then you definitely don't want to work with that brand. So for me, my ideal brand to reach out to probably has around 10 to 50,000 Instagram followers, has decent engagement, not like really low. You don't want to reach out to a brand that has 10 likes per photo, maybe up in a couple hundreds, maybe a couple thousands. And number 3, it's a client that's posting frequently and they're actually active on social media. Look at when they posted their last photo. If it's months and months ago, they don't really care about social, but if it was a couple hours ago or yesterday, they're probably in need of some social content. Now that you found a brand that you want to work with, or a couple brands even, step number 2 is reach out and getting product. Now, what should you say when you reach out? A common mistake that I see content creators make when they're first starting out is that they'll reach out and ask if they're looking to get content made for this product, and then they'll ask for money. This is a poor way to approach a situation, because 1, you probably don't have an extensive portfolio just yet, and 2, you're kind of strong-arming them, asking them to pay you money out of their marketing budget. A better way to go about doing things to collaborate with them and build on that early relationship is just to ask for product. Ask for product, and in exchange, you'll give your services, or you'll create social content for that product. The reason why this is so important is because it's really low pressure for brands usually to send you product, because 1, it's not coming out of their marketing budget, and 2, it's usually a lot cheaper for them to manufacture that product versus their online retail price. So it's actually not that expensive to get that product to you, while you in exchange create social content. Now let's say they don't want to send you the product for free in exchange for your services, then I would say just buy the product yourself if you still want to work with the brand. Obviously, you don't want to go too crazy and buy a bunch of expensive stuff. However, if it's like less than $100 or less than $50, I'd say just go for it, buy it yourself, and we'll talk about what you want to do with that product in the next step. Another point to consider when it comes to messaging the brand is you want to start on Instagram DM. First, DM them on Instagram, see if they'd like to work together and send you product in exchange for your services. And if they don't get back to you, or they leave you unseen, Then you want to try other options or other doors to reach out to them or get connected with them. You can even try LinkedIn, Twitter, or their customer service email that you usually have on their website. The reason why you need to try these different methods is because whoever is managing their social media, if they have a social media manager, it's a different department than the actual marketing team potentially that has the final say on whether or not they want to work with content creators. So you want to make sure that you try the customer service, the social media manager, and potentially the marketing manager on LinkedIn, because most brands have multiple people on their team. So one person could have more authority than the other. So you want to try a bunch of different avenues if just Instagram doesn't work out for you at first. Now that was a lot of information on reaching out. So here are some guiding questions to keep in mind when it comes to step number 2. Number 1, figure out what it is you're asking for and what it is you're offering. So are you offering photo, video, and what are you asking for? Are you asking for product? Which product? Number 2 is, have you tried all avenues if they haven't responded back to you? Have you tried reaching out via Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, email? Think about that. And last but not least, are you being genuine? Does the message sound genuine? Are you just shotgunning the same message and changing the brand name to 50 different brands? You wanna make sure that the brand comes off authentic and genuine, and that will help your chances of them reaching back out to you. Now the third step is a spec ad. Now that you have the product, whether they sent that to you for free or you bought it yourself, you need to create some content with it. Now, what you want to do is you want to look at their website and their Instagram, see what kind of vibe they have going on with their photography, because like we said, they probably don't have videos. See what kind of vibe they have going on, and then create a video, a spec ad. A spec ad is an ad that's not really paid, but you're just doing it in hopes to get paid eventually by this brand or by another company. So create a piece of content that they would enjoy that aligns well, and it will mix in well with their Instagram feed or their website. It's so important that you create this spec ad with their brand aesthetic in mind. Don't just be so stubborn to your own styles. Look at what they're doing in their Instagram feed and what the colors look like, what the models look like, and try to match that as close as possible in your spec ad. Now, here are some guiding questions to keep in mind when creating the spec piece for said brand. Number 1 is, what is their overall brand aesthetic? How does it make you feel? Number 2 is, what does their color palette look like? What do their photos look like? What colors are we dealing with here? And number 3, what do their models and locations look like? You want to make sure that your spec piece hits on all 3 of those and it aligns with their brand. So step number 4 is the important one, because this is the one where we try to get you paid as a creator, and this is pitching and closing the client. Let's just say you followed this process and you went through step number 1, which is research, you went through step number 2, which is getting the product, and you went through step number 3 and you created an awesome spec ad for this brand. Now, what do you do with that spec ad? You reach out to the client and you try to close them, but what do you say to this client with this spec ad? Now, when you reach out to this client to close them, it's most likely going to be in the format of an email. Now, in this email, the first thing that you want to include is thanking them. You just want to say, thank you for this opportunity, thank you for the collab, or maybe something like, thank you for making an awesome product if you bought it yourself. Just show some gratitude, because it's human and people like that. And it's also making sure that you're not just in it just for the money, and you're here to also, create genuine relationships as well. Now, the second thing you want to include in this email are your prices or packages, and most likely they're going to want something similar to what you created for them in the spec ad. So what you want to do is you want to structure it in 3 different packages and 3 different prices. Usually what I do is like a good, better, or best kind of thing. And the first one is kind of just, if they work together, they send you another product and you do just the video. The second package will most likely have the video plus maybe some other social media versions that they could post on IG story or IG post, or maybe even YouTube. And third is like the works. That is like, if you were to go all the way, your price is pretty high there, and you're making a YouTube video, a social media video, maybe some IG stories. So that's kind of like the works package. What you want to do is you want to structure them pretty well, where the middle one is probably the one that you're banking on them going for. It's not too expensive and it's not too cheap either. Your least expensive one is kind of the budget option. That's if they don't really have too much budget, it's low pressure, and they'll commit to it and you'll still get paid. But the last one, you want to really reach for that one. Maybe double what the middle one is, but that one is, if they book you on that one, you're like, whoa, I scored big on this one. That's what you want your third package to be in terms of price and package. And last but not least, the third thing that you want to include in the email is simply asking them how you can provide value. Because this is a safety net for if none of those packages really fit what they need, simply just tell them in the email, if none of these packages fit your needs, I would be more than happy to hop on a call and figure out what your needs are in terms of social media or your website or content creation in general. When you try to figure out what their needs are, then you can really dial in on how you can provide value, and then they'll be willing to pay you for that if it doesn't really align with what you've offered them already. So to recap, in the email, when you reach out with your spec ad, what do you want to put in there? Number one, thanking them. Number two, your prices and packages. And number three, asking them how you can provide value or what they need. So that pretty much sums up my 4-step process on how to land clients if you don't have too many followers or if you're first starting out. Honestly, I can relate when I tell you when I was first starting out, I always thought I needed a massive following to get paid as a creator. It's pretty overwhelming when you see all these people with millions of followers getting these massive brand deals. But don't get discouraged by just some of the numbers and the metrics. You can still make money as a creator without all that clout. You just have to be more strategic about it, and brands aren't just gonna come straight up to your door. So if you follow this 4-step process to the T and you make sure those guiding questions are aligned with their brand or with the business, I promise you, you will land a client. And when you do, you just rinse and repeat and you just start this process over. And before you know it, you'll be a full-time creator making money doing what you love. Peace.